Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is the diuretics part 3. We are going to discuss the rest of the diuretics. So here is the osmotic diuretics. There are many osmotic diuretics, but in clinical use is mannitol. That are other rarely used are urea, glycerine, and isosorbide. First of all, they have certain common properties. Number one is all these osmotic diuretics are freely filtered by the glomerulus. These diuretics have negligible tubular reabsorption. Moreover, they are chemically inert and usually they are not metabolized and excreted as such. As regards the pharmacokinetics, mannitol and urea is given by intravenous route of administration, while glycerine and isosorbide can be administered orally. I have already told you they have negligible metabolism. However, mannitol that is used clinically is usually only 20% metabolized. Glycerine metabolism is about 80% and urea and isosorbide these are not metabolized at all and they are excreted through kidney. What is their mechanism of action? As their name is indicating, what is the name? Name is osmotic diuretics. And you well, what is osmosis? You are well aware of this osmosis since your 7th or 8th grade. So same is here. They are osmotic diuretics. They are filtered and they increase the osmotic pressure in the tubular lumen. As a result of this osmotic pressure, they increases the excretion of water, and along with this water certain electrolytes like sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, bicarbonate and phosphates are also excreted along with this water. So there will be increased volume of urine and increased rate of urine flow through the renal tubules. Mannitol that is used clinically, it is not only act on the kidney but it can also reduce brain volume and intracranial pressure by osmotically extracting the water from the tissues into the blood. So mannitol is used to treat cerebral edema that can occur after an head injury or head surgery. So we use mannitol in this case because mannitol reduces the brain volume by extracting the water from the tissues into the blood. Similarly, a similar effect can occur in the eye to treat glaucoma. Although it is not used to treat glaucoma, but it can reduce the intraocular pressure by reducing the fluid that is present in your eye. So glaucoma can be treated although it is not used clinically. Now indications. Rarely it can be used in glaucoma because it decreases the intraocular pressure. It decreases the brain edema, brain volume and pressure. So it can be given before and after brain surgery and usually mannitol is given. There is a disequilibrium syndrome whenever patient goes hemodialysis. So to treat this disequilibrium, we can use mannitol to maintain this equilibrium. Similarly, in certain cases like in hemolysis and in rhabdomyolysis, there is severe fluid overload. We can excrete these fluids along with water by using mannitol. Similarly, there is a condition that is called acute tubular necrosis that may be due to use of any contrast media that is used in your x-rays or in your CT scans or MRIs. Similarly, acute tubular necrosis can occur after surgery and after trauma. So we can use mannitol to as a prophylactically to treat this acute tubular necrosis. What will be the adverse effects of using these osmotic diuretics? As you know, these diuretics removes water from the intracellular compartment. So initially there will be increase in the plasma volume. So for at that instance, it is potentially dangerous in heart failure and pulmonary edema. It can cause hyponatremia that can lead to headache, nausea, and vomiting. Water excretion obviously leads to hypovolemia, and hypovolemia will produce hypernatremia. This can produce hypersensitivity reaction. Similarly, venous thrombosis can occur. Pain can occur if extravasation, especially of urea, occurs out of granula. Similarly, with glycerine, patient can experience hyperglycemia and glycemia. Now, the next class of diuretic is ADH agonists. Vasopressin and desmopressin are the ADH agonists that are used in central diabetes insipidus. We have two types of diabetes insipidus. One is central diabetes insipidus and second one is nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Normally these ADH agonists act on V2 receptors. These are present in the collecting tubules and they are GS coupled receptors. So they reduce the diuresis in the collecting tubules. So make it clear, vasopressin and desmopressin are the ADH agonists and they reduce the diuresis in the collecting tubules. Normally vasopressin present in your body and it is released from posterior pituitary. When released, whenever there is rising plasma tonicity or there is falling blood pressure. So ADH vasopressin is released from the posterior pituitary and it will reduce the diuresis in the collecting tubule to prevent this fall in blood pressure and to maintain the plasma tonicity. And normally deficiency of this vasopressin can lead to diabetes insipidus and this type of diabetes insipidus is called central diabetes insipidus. So for the treatment of central diabetes insipidus, we can use ADH agonists that act on V2 receptor present in the collecting tubule. So they will be reduced. What is their mechanism of action? They work in the sending limb of loop of Henle and the collecting ducts. There are two types of receptors, V1 and V2. V1 receptors are present in the vascular smooth muscle and they causes vasoconstriction. While the V2 receptors are present in the kidney, they increase the water permeability of the tubular epithelium. So more water will be reabsorbed and this water will go into the plasma that will increase the plasma volume and will maintain the plasma. ADH facilitates water absorption from the collecting tubule by activation of the V2 receptors that are coupled to the GS. They stimulate adenylyl cyclase that increases the cyclic AMP. Moreover, they cause insertion of additional aquaporin channels into the luminal membrane in this part of the tubule. So more and more water can be absorbed from the tubular lumen into the blood. You can see this is the picture. This is collecting tubule. I will take my laser pointer. This is collecting tubule. This is ADH that is acting on the V2 receptors and it is GS coupled that will increase the cyclic AMP. This cyclic AMP will cause the aquaporin channels that are responsible for the reabsorption of water from the lumen of the urine into the cell and then into the blood. It can also increases the expression of these aquaporin channels, so more and more water is reabsorbed from the lumen of the urine into the collecting tubule cell and then into the blood. So basically ADH agonist decreases the diuresis. They causes more reabsorption of water into the blood. Now comes the ADH antagonist. These are opposite of ADH agonist. So conviptan is an ADH inhibitor at V1A and V2 receptors. Similarly, the macrocycline is a drug and the lithium, that is an antipsychotic, antimanic drug, it inhibits the action of ADH at some point distal to the generation of cyclic AMP and presumably the insertion of water channels into the membrane. Now I will tell you the clinical uses of ADH agonist. ADH and desmopressin reduce the urine volume and concentrate it. So they are useful in pituitary diabetes insipidus or central diabetes insipidus. I have already told you there is two type of diabetes. They are not used for nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. The treatment of nephrogenic diabetes insipidus is by salt restriction, also thiazide diuretics and loop diuretics. Diabetes insipidus due to head trauma or brain surgery can be treated with these ADH agonists. Similarly, there is a condition in which there is gastrointestinal bleeding due to portal hypertension that can occur in patient of cirrhosis. So these ADH agonists reduce the mesenteric blood flow by acting on the V2 receptors that causes vasoconstriction. Now is the clinical uses of ADH antagonists. These opposes the action of ADH and other naturally acting peptides. So they will cause significant water retention and dangerous hyponatremia. Syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion can be treated with demeclocycline and ADH antagonist, that is convipril. This was all about the diuretics. Hopefully all of you have enjoyed. These are very interesting, so learn them and be happy. Thank you very much.